My name is Bruno Moreland and I teach AP African American Studies. And in this series, I'm going to go over all the required sources in the AP African American Studies curriculum. Today we're looking at Unit 1.11, Global Africans, and there's only one required source, which is a large painting called Chafariz del Rey, or Fountain of the King. The painting is dated between 1570 to 1580, and it's by either a Flemish or a Dutch artist, as far as I could find online. It depicts the Alfama district of Lisbon, and primarily the public fountain, which was a place that everyday Portuguese or Lisbonans would go and get their water, as there wasn't running water in people's homes during that time period. As you can see in the image, most of the people that were tasked with going out and bringing the water back, something that would have been really difficult and heavy to do every single day, were Black women. So this painting has really been made to highlight the large Black population of the city of Lisbon, the capital of a European country, Portugal. It had about 10 to 12,000 Black people living in the city, which made up about 10% of its total population in the 15 and 1600s. This was the highest population of Black residents in any city, which would not have been lost on a European visitor. This gives us a clue into the possible intent of the Flemish or Dutch artist, that they were probably trying to criticize Portugal for having a large Black population. And there's even some elements of comic relief that the artist is trying to include into the painting. Now, the reason why Portugal had such a large population of Black residents is not just because they were involved in the slave trade, which they were, but it was because they had a huge labor shortage, especially after the population loss that was a result of the Black Death. As we'll see, not all of the residents in Portugal or Lisbon were enslaved. Some had been sent there as sons of nobles to learn Portuguese or be converted to Christianity. And there was even some social mobility that Black people could attain, going from enslaved to servants to even as high as knights of the royal court. So that's where we'll start. This painting is a lot of pictures within a picture. So we're going to look at the 4 Black knights in the foreground of the painting. One of them is riding a pony, and the other 3 are wearing Black robes. On the pony is João de Sá Panasco, and we can tell this because of his red cross. He was born in Africa in 1520. In the 1540s, he was freed. He served as a jester in the court of João III. Later on, he moved up to be a page, and then he was made into a knight by João III for his service on the royal court. This is where you can really see the mobility that Black people would have had available to them while being in Portugal. We don't really see the brutal practices of slavery in this painting, as we're going to see in the transatlantic slave trade later on. The next part of the painting that I want to point you towards is the plaza fountain. In this area, you can see a couple dancing, a Black man and a white woman. This is possibly meant to be comical, and it also alludes to the festive traditions of the Afro-Lisboetas. These are people who were of African descent and had been hired by royal courts or nobles to serve as entertainment or musicians in celebrations. As part of this painting, you can also see that there is a diversity of labor within the city. There's porters working by the river and the boats in the foreground of the picture. There's a gondolier, so someone who is rowing the boats on the river. And there's also people that are carrying jugs on top of their head. Again, you see some elements of comic relief with a man with a broken jug that's gone through his head. And we also see elements of how the Black residents would have been treated, with 2 guards taking away a Black man and a woman nearby looking concerned for what's happening to him. So whether or not the intent of the painter was to criticize Lisbon for the number of Black residents, it certainly gives us a view of what life was like for those who were now part of the African diaspora, or people who were born in Africa and had been forced to leave for whatever reason. And so that's all we have for this video. This was the last topic in this unit, and when we meet again in the next video, we'll start the required sources for Unit 2. Thank you.